Hi, watching the weather on this Sunday afternoon, something I'm still prone to do many times. And of course, all eyes are on Hurricane Dorian. Looking at it out there affecting the Bahama Islands right now, and a lot of impact possible in the southeastern U.S. Many folks there biting their fingernails. And the major question with a storm of this magnitude is, where is it headed? All storms in the Atlantic eventually curve more to the north and to the northeast. And the question on this storm is, when? Here's a visible satellite loop of very powerful Hurricane Dorian. The National Hurricane Center is indicating there could be wind gusts over 220 miles per hour with this storm. With storm surge, that's the rising of the actual ocean level itself, anywhere between 18 and 23 feet. And according to some of the videos I've seen on social media, at least the storm surge part of that looks like it's actually coming true, or at least coming close to, around 20 feet or so. Hard to estimate. And the wind gusts, certainly over 200 miles per hour with this Category 5 storm. It's a buzzsaw moving through the Abacos Island, the Great Abacos Island area. If you just draw a straight line on that storm, it would impact the southeast Florida coast. But that's not the whole story. If you've been following this at all, you know that there's been a advertised turn to the north. But the million-dollar question is when and how much? And will it make landfall? And if so, where? Huge questions. And, the science of weather forecasting wishes always that we knew the exact answer to that, but it's just not always possible. Very subtle features affect where a major hurricane like this will end up. Let's take a look at a few more things. So if you just observe what the storm is doing and just draw a straight line, that white arrow would indicate where it's headed. But it's not as easy as that. And of course, a couple of days ago, that's just about exactly where the storm was forecast to go. But what has happened in the last couple of days is the steering currents in the upper atmosphere west of this storm, out over the Gulf and the southeastern United States, have changed and are going to start to nudge that thing a little bit more to the north. A little bit of a stalling is forecast tomorrow in the more western portion of the Bahama Island chain, and then a turn to the north. But some of the later computer models have it slamming into northeast Florida. A lot of the consensus of the models still have it hanging off the coast and heading more north toward the Carolinas. Here is just one of the many computer models that we have to choose from, showing what happens or what could potentially happen with Dorian. Now you'll notice as I move through this, it's just kind of stepping forward here. When it gets right to about there, it kind of pulls the stalling act and churns in one place and then turns almost due north. The time frame we're looking at here is about tomorrow morning around 7 a.m. or so. So then from that point it continues to go north and slows down quite a bit. That puts a lot of gusts and heavy rains along the extreme eastern coast of Florida. But again, that's just one simulation. There are others that take it into the Florida coast, and others that keep it more out to sea. All right, this is another computer model. The difference here is that we're looking at, I guess the best way to describe these would be the steering currents in the atmosphere, about the middle of the atmosphere. And little subtle things change over the next 24 hours that cause this storm to stall. And if you kind of watch here, we'll go through and step forward here. This is about on the other simulation where I showed you the stalling act. As it was occurring, if you'll recall, it was right around here. It was not moving, kind of staying in one place. And the subtle thing about the atmosphere is that any small little ripple affects where a storm of this magnitude will go, even though the wind speeds involved here are, an eighth of what they are inside the storm itself. But see how these winds here are going a little bit more like this? This has the net effect of grabbing the storm and pulling it a little bit more to the north, or if they're opposing the storm itself, it causes that stalling act I was just talking about. And then eventually what starts to happen right about here is that storm starts to move more to the north as those upper level winds take over. However, that is not, again, a guaranteed thing, since the subtleties that are involved here are just that. Very small differences in the wind speed can make a big impact on where that storm heads. So I think that we're really still not done determining exactly where Dorian will head. Of course, one should never forget that in this age of Instagram and Twitter and social media and instant gratification on everything, there's a real tendency to want the answers to where storms like this are headed immediately, and we don't want them to change either. Well, weather hasn't changed, even if social media has, and so tracking them hour by hour is going to lead to these changes in where the track is going to head. Of course, the larger message is there is a very powerful storm off the southeastern coast of the United States, and everybody in that area should take measured precautions to make sure that they're ready to do whatever they need to do in the event that this thing were to change direction or intensity. And that's always been the message of weather forecasting, and it always will be, because these computer models are pretty good. They're a lot better than they used to be, but they are simply not going to pick up on every aspect of a storm like this. So we'll keep watching this. Hopefully it never makes landfall in the United States. That's actually completely possible, and that would be the best possible scenario for Category 5 Dorian.